is Thomas Jansen. I'm the designer of Club Stories, and I'd like to show you the second edition of this game. Club Stories is a game for 1 or 2 players in which you are a manager of an unknown football club. You just start, you try to work your way up by playing all the different scenarios. Let's take a look at the first scenario. In the first scenario, you are the manager of Newby FC, and Newby FC promoted to the professional football league for the first time in its history. The people of the small town of Newby were over the moon. Now, a few months later, no one believes the newcomers will survive the third division for even one season. But the people at the club know staying up is important for its survival, so they hired you. Well, that's the story. There are also some stats at the top, and I did some setting up, but we have to do a few things before we can start. Here you can see the situation at the club. We have 2 savings. So we take 2 savings, put it in front of us. We have 2 weekly income, and that is shown on this track. So we put this on 2. The popularity of our club with the fans is 4, so we put this on 4. And the morale of our team is 3. It's not too high, but we have a very fit team. The fitness is 5. You see, we play in Division 3. We'll get to the rest, the season goals, the scenario rules. In the future we'll get to that later. Let's take a look at these tracks first on the board. First you can see the weekly income. This is how much money we earn each week. So each week we earn 2 coins. Our popularity with the fans, and you see the higher it gets, sometimes it goes through a border. The border says crowd -1 +1. So every time we pass this border, we'll earn 1 crowd. So our stadium fills up with 1 crowd. When we drop through this border, we lose 1 crowd. And every crowd we earn stands for 1 weekly income. This is the morale of the team and the fitness of the team. Every time we change our tactics, we'll also drop 1 point. And sometimes at certain events we get better. When these tracks drop down, the risk is greater, will be greater that we that bad stuff happens. For example, when our fitness is very low, there's a big chance our players get injured, and when our morale is low, the chance of suspensions will get bigger. When we look at the scenario again, you also see here our stadium with 4 blocks. Every time we earn crowds, 1 block is filled. So we can also see at the start of this game there are 2 crowds already in the stadium. So we put 2 blocks in the stadium here. There's also room for some sponsors, some ad boards. This is the track of the turns, so we'll put a block here, and the rest comes later. Here you can see that we can also have a shirt sponsor. Okay, let's take a look at the board again. On the left side you see the green blocks. This is called our network. Here you can get tactics, here you can get sponsors, you can get your staff, and here you can get players. This is the player market. You can always take a card from the top of the decks. Well, you have to do something about it, but later, more about it later. But you can also take cards which are next to the decks. And to see how many cards there are, we look at our board. These are our directors, and they all have some symbols on them. This one says +1 staff, so we can put 1 staff next to the deck. This one says +2 staff, so we can put another 2 next to the deck. So now we can choose each round between 4 different staff members if you'd like to. This one says +1 sponsors. And you can see at the club, this is our club, there's also a coach which has a +1 tactics symbol on it. So you can also choose a tactics card and +1 player, so the player market grows. And this is called our network, and these people, the directors and the coach and the scout, they have their connections, and so our network grows. It never shrinks, it always stays the same, even when people leave. Directors can leave. It stays just as big as it is now, or it gets bigger. On the right side of the board, we can see the opponent cards, board meetings, which are events and challenges. We get to that later. Okay, at the top of the board you can see the manager points, and this is where you can see if you reached the final goal of the scenario. If you take a look at the scenario again, at the season goals, the club expects you to be an unexperienced manager. Reach this level by the end of season. So unexperienced manager. When I look at the track, I see the unexperienced manager block here. So we have to have 49 points or more at the end of season, and then our scenario, we reach the final goal of our scenario. There are also some goals which really help to get to these 49 points or more, which are these goals. These goals are important for the club and may help you survive. Do not relegate, 10th place will do, 15 points. Second, contract a shirt sponsor and find sponsors for all airports, 7 points. 3, play at least 3 games in a sold out stadium, 7 points. We can here mark these games which we play in sold out stadiums. So if we got these blocks filled up and we have played 3 times in a sold out stadium, we get these 7 points extra. So these goals really help you to earn those points you need. And here you can see how many points you have to reach during the season. League points. This is the league points track. Okay. Well, here is the form track and here's the tactics track, but we'll get to that later during a couple of turns. Let's just play a couple of turns. I've just played the first turn and we come to the second turn, in which you start with a board meeting. You don't in the first turn, but in the second turn you start with a board meeting. The board meeting is here. In a board meeting there are a couple of events we have to read. The board meeting is of course done by my directors, so they will take a decision about something, and that's the first event that's happening. Our sponsor wants our team to play against their clients. Should we do such a thing? There are 3 possible outcomes which they will decide. Yes, it will boost our finances. That's the yellow decision. +3 money and -2 fitness. Well, they are going to play a tournament or are going to play against our clients, so they will lose some fitness. Or not now, maybe during winter break, -1 money. Or no, sponsors shouldn't have that much influence, -2. The different outcomes, they stand for the different opinions from the directors. And red opinion means they are normally, they think fans are most important, and blue opinions think the team is most important, and the yellow opinions think the club is a business and money is most important. And the flavor text also explains it a bit, but you can see that these, because of the number of dice, these 2 directors are more likely to take decisions which are in favor of the fans, and this one is a more balanced one, but overall they are more they have a more red opinion, you could say. Throw a die, the red die, and we'll see which decision they will take. But we could also influence the decision by attending the board meeting. But first, normally we'll just throw a die, and in this case it is a 5, and we'll see the most 5s are red, all 5s are red, so it will be a red decision. When I throw a 3, it will be a blue decision, because most dice are blue. So this is how this works. So I can choose to roll this die. I have to roll the red die, but I can also choose to add one of my white dice. I have 4 during a turn, so when I add one die, I lost it for the rest of my turn. So let's say I throw 2 dice, and now I can choose between 2 or 3. When it's a 2, it will be a blue decision. 3, it will also be a blue decision now. But let's say it was a 4, then it would have been a red decision, or a 1. I could also choose between for a yellow decision. So that's how it works. When I add a third die, 3 dice in total, then I don't even have to throw the dice, and I can choose which of the outcome it will be. But I lost these 2 dice for the rest of my turn. So I can add 1, and when I add a second one, 3 in total, then I can choose the decision, and I don't have to throw them. Well, let's say I throw, I just take the risk and throw only the red die. It is a 6, and 6 is a red opinion. No, sponsors shouldn't have that much influence, so I lose 2 money. That's not too good, but well, I took the risk. Okay, next event. For the upcoming game we need a steward right away. Search the staff deck and put it directly into play. When you can't pay, or it will make you bankrupt, you don't have to. Well, I know the sponsor, the steward, I mean, that's what we were looking for. When you look at a steward, I can take this one, but I have to pay her 1 money, so I cannot pay her. So I don't have to. So I'll just leave it in the deck. And at the bottom, the orange part, when my morale is lower than 3, this will happen. So bad things happen in the orange part. One of your players is becoming very unpopular with the fans. Put a die on one of your players. You cannot use this die until this player scores. So when your morale drops, bad things will happen to your team. You can expect expansions or events like this. So you have to keep these tracks high. That was my board meeting. Okay, next we go to plan actions. I still have my 4 dice left. My red die I have to put over here, and now I can do some actions. Let's see, I don't have any money, so maybe it is, well, let's see, I still have weekly income, of course. Let's look at the staff. There are different people I can hire, and I'd like to hire this scout. And when you look at this scout, you see that he has different skills. He always comes in with the first skill, so I put a disc on the first spot here, and I can upgrade it by sending him on a course. It costs me 2 money, and then my skills will also be available, will get unlocked, and it also earns me points on the manager track. But now he'd like to have a weekly income of 1. And what do I have to do to get it? I just have to pay 1 die. I don't have to roll it, but I have to pay it. That is what this symbol means. So I put 1 die here, and the scout is mine now. I pay 1 weekly income, and what can he do? Watch next opponent. So this one can watch the next opponent. We'll see what that means when we are going to play the match. And this symbol means that it is a free action, so I don't have to pay a die for it. Okay, so I'll put it here and I'll put a disc on here. Okay, that was one die. Now let's see, I'll have 3 dice left. What would have happened if I took this coach, for example? This is another symbol, a different symbol. This means that this coach will only come when my popularity is high enough. So I'll take the value of my popularity track, it's 4, and I have to throw a 4 or lower, and then the coach will come to my team. In this case, the die system works the same, so I can add another die to increase my chance. And I can also add a third die to know for sure he will come. So if I add a third die, I don't have to throw them, I just add them to my schedule and it's mine. Okay, there's 2 things I still have to do, because the other action, I took the scout, I have to fill up the space which the scout came from, and when you look at my scout, there's also a +2 player symbol, so my player market gets bigger. This scout has his connections too, and I can now choose more players. Of course, I also want to have a player. Let's take a look at these players. I already have Tatum. These are, of course, in here. And he is a midfielder. But I also would like to have an attacker, of course. This player, Atkins, I can attract him by, there's a die symbol with a 4+ on it, so I have to attract him. I can get him by rolling a 4 or higher. He is an attacker and he's a 2-star player. It means that I can have maximum 2 skill tokens on the card. You can see this player already has a skill token. When it gets into my team, it also gets a skill token. The black number is put on top. So this one has a power of 2. Because this is a 1-star player, it won't level up. So this is the power of the player, and the player won't get any better. A 2 player will get a skill token and is able to level up. And when it is leveled up, a second token will be put on it, and you use the green number, for example a +1 or a +2. So this player is a little bit better than a Tatum. It is a little bit more talented, so I'd like to have this one. Normally when I attract it, I throw a die, and when it is a 4+, I can have the player, and I take one of these skill tokens, and I have to, it's kind of a gamble how good the player is, but I can also, of course, watch a player. My scout has the ability to do so. So when I look at this scout, which was already there, it says watch a listed player. So I can use a die, you can see it here, to watch a listed player. And when you do, you take 2 of these tokens and you flip them and you look at them, and of course this is the best one, the 3, so I put the 1 back. So I now know one of these skill tokens and I can leave it there. Now I will try to attract this Atkins, and I think I use both dice to throw a 4 or higher, and well, I succeeded, so I can take Atkins. I have to pay 1 weekly income, and I put it in, of course, the attacking zone, and it doesn't matter where I put it, I can always change it within this zone. Okay, and now I take a skill token, and of course I take this one, because a 3 is a very high one. 4 is the highest, but there are not a lot of 4s. So I take this one, and I have a very skillful attacker. uh, Atkins. Now all my dice are gone, but I already told you that my scout has the ability as a free action, the 0 is in it, watch next opponent. So I think I'm going to do that. When you select an opponent, you shuffle the deck and you take one out. And my scout says the following: the coach managed to bring a very focused and fit team on the pitch this season. Defense is as solid as a rock. They play 4-4-2. This is the information I already know about my opponent, which is on the other side, of course. So they have a very solid defense. So that will be probably very hard to go through. And my team isn't that good. But 4-4-2. Okay, let's just select my players. Of course, you can see there are, I only have 2 player cards, but the other players which are printed on there are also players. They are very untalented players with the power of only 1, but you know, my team isn't that good. I fight against relegation in this scenario. So, well, you have to know that the players with a ball below it, they try to score, and with a shield below it, they try to defend. Okay, yeah. So the defense is solid as a rock. Okay, yeah. Well, since the defense is solid as a rock, I try to guess that this one doesn't go through when this player tries to score. When I select this one, it tries to score. It's only a 1, so this one won't get through. So I put my player card with power 3 on the attacking spot. So I hope it will be helpful and a 3 will go through there. Yeah, let's do it this way. Okay, now let's select the tactics. Normally you could select your tactics, but I don't have any tactics cards, so I don't do that. I take this card, and it is Blackstone FC. Blackstone FC is my opponent. And they also have these symbols, the balls and the shields. So let's take a look at this team. Okay, this is how it works. First take a look at the attacking line. I take this disc, the 3, it is an attacking player, and the attacking, or the balls, they try to score, the attacking players, they must be put on a shield. So a ball must be put on a shield, and a shield must be put on a ball. So this one tries to score, and it has to pass one of the defenders, and it has to be higher than one of the shields. So in this case, I'm very unlucky because all of the defending players have a 3. When I had a 4, I could pass it. Or when one of these 3s was a 2, I could put this on this 2, and my player would have scored. But I can put it anywhere, it doesn't matter. It is stopped. He is stopped by one of the defenders. So bad luck. Okay, well, this shield, it blocks the player here. This 1 tries to score because there's a ball on it. He tries to score, and I can block it with this 1 because this opponent player has to be higher than my defending player. So it is also blocked. So this still 0-0. Now let's take a look at the midfield. Let's take a look at my attacking players here. They both have 1s. And this 1 tries to go through, but there's a 2 and a 1, so he won't pass. And this one also tries to go through, and there's a 2, and he won't succeed. Then we have these 2 1s, they try to score, and I can block it here. This one I can also block there. So I choose on which player I want to put the disc. But it also has to always have to be, the ball has to go to a shield and the shield has to go to a ball. Then there are these two players, these attacking players. I can stop this one here, and this one I can also stop with one of the two players here. And now I have this attacking back here. And when I look in this row, there's no player left to defend it. So that means I score. And it's 1-0. Well, I lost my first game, and now I won it with 1-0. And that's very special because I don't have a team that's very good, so I won this game. 1, 2, 3 points. 3 league points. Okay, now let's go to the next phase. That's the match consequences. Throw the green die and move for a marker. Okay, we'll take a look at the match consequences and have to throw the green die. It could have been possible that I had one white die left, and in that case I could have added it to my roll and then had again the option to choose one of the outcomes. But now I don't, so I throw a die and it's a 6, and we look at the win, draw, loss column. So we look at the win column and it says 6-6, so we earn 2 skills, and the skill is a skill token. So we can take 2 skill tokens. First, this player, we take one of them. That's a +2. We add it here, so we use the green number because there's always already a token on it. So this one is now 5. And the second skill token I cannot add because my other player is a 1-star player and he can only have a maximum of 1 skill token on it. The other players, they can't level up, and you cannot put any injury tokens or skill tokens on them. So, but nonetheless, 5, it is a very strong player for a 3rd division team. So, okay, and now one more thing. Whenever you upgrade a player, you get 1 manager point, and you can also take a challenge card. The challenge card we have here. I want the team to win 2 matches in a row. So I can take this card and put it in front of me. And whenever I win a match, I put a token here, cube. And when I win the second match, I can put it here, and then I can take the card and earn 3 manager points. So that's good. And I also put a cube here. So I can see these 2 cards are connected. Okay. Then we go to the housekeeping. Refresh cards. This means we take a card from every deck and put it somewhere on one of the other cards. Director, we don't really need a director. And of course we don't have any choice here. And also the players, I already had to put one here because I took my Atkins, and now I can take another player. And this one is an attacker. I already took one attacker, but this one is a 3-star player. Ooh, that's difficult. Which player I want to put it on? I do not have it. Oh, here is a defender, but it's also 1-star player. Well, let's put it here. Okay. And after that, suspensions and injuries. We don't have any suspensions. When a player gets suspended, we put a marker on it. Of course, at one side it's 1 week, means one turn. The other side is 2 weeks, and you put it below the player here. and you know that this player cannot be selected this turn. And in the housekeeping, you flip it from 2 weeks to 1 week, or you remove it when it's 1 week. And then move 4 marker. We just won the game, so we move the 4 marker 1 up. The higher the form, the bigger the chance a scout from another club will spot a player, and this club tries to buy your player. Okay, and finally move turn marker. So this one goes to 2. Okay, and that's the end of this turn.